Hello everyone, it's Jack from Jack Fish Tips here, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we cycle the tank and why we cycle. The first thing to understand is why we're cycling the tank, and we're cycling the tank basically because of one chemical, and that chemical is ammonia, which has the chemical symbol NH3. Now, you've likely heard of ammonia before, and the reason you will have heard of it before is because it's toxic to humans, just like it's toxic to fish. And ammonia comes from anything in the tank which is biological and being broken down. So this can include fish food, this can include dead fish, and this can include dying or dead plant matter. So it's worth keeping an eye on all of these things. So in terms of food, you can keep an eye on this just by making sure that your fish are eating all the food that you serve and it's not going to the bottom of the tank. Fish, including dying fish, obviously remove a fish if it dies, hopefully it won't. But it's also worth noting that the fish excrement, i.e. if you overfeed your fish, it will produce more chemicals which will be turned straight into ammonia. So overfeeding fish can result in high ammonia as well. And then dying plant matter. So this is quite common in planted tanks. You put a plant somewhere, maybe some of the leaves are dying off, you can see they're decaying, you open up the lid and you see that there's loads of leaves floating around. All of these things are going to contribute to higher and higher ammonia levels. And when you first make your tank, this is all you're going to have really. You're going to have ammonia. So if we plotted this on a graph of levels over time, and we had an ammonia level, your ammonia level is going to be going up. However, the next type of chemical that we're concerned around is nitrite. So nitrite has the chemical symbol NO2. Now, this is caused by the oxidation of the ammonia molecule, and it is carried out by ammonia oxidizing bacteria. Now, these bacteria exist everywhere in your water supply and everywhere else, but what you need to provide is somewhere for these bacteria to grow. So they will exist to some extent just freely floating in your water, first of all, and that's where they're always going to start. However, the way you really want to culture these bacteria is using a filter. So the filter provides an excellent area for your bacteria to grow, and this is both true of this bacteria and the next bacteria I'm going to talk about. One thing you do have to be careful of though is how you clean your filter. Many people will rinse their filter under the tap or similar, but this will kill the bacteria. So when you clean your filter, always make sure that you've done a water change, and then in the bucket with the essentially wastewater from your tank, you're going to remove your filter, you're going to place it in the bucket, you're going to squeeze it a little bit, get all the crud off it, and then just place it back in the tank. It doesn't need to be 100% clean. The purpose of that filter is actually to harbour the beneficial bacteria. So as we increase the amount of NO2, we're actually going to begin to decrease the amount of ammonia. So this is your ammonia levels. And now we can see that the nitrite levels are going to come something like this. Now, ammonia and nitrite are very different in that nitrite is a lot less poisonous than ammonia. So when you're using these quick start chemicals in your tank, they're normally going to be focusing on getting rid of this ammonia. So you'll often find that nitrite hangs around in your tank quite a lot longer, and that's what I have found, particularly with the Fluval mix. Ammonia only lasted 3 days. If you're doing a cycle without any of this quick start stuff, the ammonia might be there a week or two, but it gets rid of the ammonia quickly and you end up with nitrite. Nitrite is still dangerous to your fish. It shouldn't be just ignored, but it is a lot less dangerous. And so if you have high nitrite levels, and you have fish in your tank, you should really be doing regular water changes to remove that nitrite level. It isn't going to kill your fish as quickly as ammonia, but it will kill them. So, the final bacteria is a bacteria called nitrite oxidizing bacteria. And this turns your nitrite into nitrate. Now, nitrate is the chemical in your tank which is considered safe. However, this is a bit of a misnomer. You do have to be careful about your nitrate levels. There are 2 issues which your fish may have with nitrate in your tank. The first issue is if you have incredibly high nitrate levels. So whereas ammonia and nitrites you'll tend to see anywhere from 0 to sort of 2 to 3 parts per million, you won't see high concentrations of these. You will see much higher concentrations of nitrate, up at the 30-40 parts per million range. Now 30-40 parts per million isn't too bad, but if you start to see that creep up above 50, getting close to 100, that is going to cause your fish issues in the long term and going to make them sick. The second way in which nitrate can cause issues with your fish is if you have a sudden die-off of something in your tank. And this has happened to me when I had an algae bloom. And what happens is all that algae dies and all of it turns to ammonia, and then it's quickly shuttled through to nitrite, and then it's quickly shuttled through to nitrate, but that nitrate doesn't really have anywhere to go. So my nitrate levels went from about 20 to 30 parts per million all the way up to 80 parts per million. And this sudden shift in nitrate levels can cause issues with your fish. So you have to keep an eye on this. You can keep an eye on it. I normally use a API test kit. This is a liquid test kit, which are really accurate. And then also I have strips, which I do regular checks with, and the strips are a lot cheaper. So I use the API tester once a week, and then I use the strips every few days if I know I've got an issue. Otherwise, I just stick to the liquid test kit once a week. So now that you've got your nitrate levels, you have to learn how to remove them. There are two methods to remove them. One is actually plants. So plants will use nitrate as food. It is unlikely that your planted tank will have enough plants to remove all the nitrates produced by your fish unless you have a very low stock of fish. For example, I have a planted tank with a betta and 6 cherry shrimp. My nitrate levels are actually pretty stable. They very slowly creep up and I only need to do a water change every 2 weeks, and they normally don't get any higher than 20 parts per million. However, if I had a lot more fish in here, such as the Otocinclus I'm going to be adding, then I will have to do more regular water changes to remove the nitrate. So, you guessed it, the second way to remove it is via a water change. If you don't do it, your nitrate levels will continue to rise, and whilst you don't have any of that nitrite and ammonia, you will have high nitrate levels that will cause your fish issues. So as the nitrite is removed, your nitrate levels will just continue to rise forever. And the only way to remove them is via a water change. The last thing to note if you have high nitrate levels in your tank is that they will be used by plants for food, as I noted previously. However, there is a pest plant known as algae, which all aquariums suffer from at some point. And when I had an explosion of nitrate levels that I talked about earlier, where I was getting this 80 parts per million, something that quickly followed was an algae bloom. So the removal of nitrate will help you remove the chance of algae growth. And this is something that a lot of hobbyists really want to avoid anyway. So by keeping on top of your water changes, you can easily keep on top of your algae growth. If you are getting algae and you're scraping it away regularly, this is not a solution, it is more of a band-aid. That algae is growing because it has food to grow. It may also be excess light, but it is likely due to you having nitrates in the tank, which the algae can feed on. That is the whistle-stop tour of why we cycle our tank and what chemicals we're interested in when we're cycling our tank, and why we want to reduce some of these chemicals, if not all of them, in order to keep our fish tank healthy. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe. I'll be bringing out more videos very shortly.